There is no recovering from an amputated heart. There is no cure for total loss. You can replace what has been taken, attempt to fill the void, and mitigate your own culpability. The symptoms can be treated, the rage may be quelled, the sharp edges of the memories can be dulled with pills that slide down your throat with the gentlest push, but the underlying cavity in one's being aches to be filled with what can never be returned. It's been over 3 years, but my home is as it was when I left, when I was taken, when everything important to me was taken. I tried to keep things in decent order, said Chase as he flicked on some lights. I nodded and set my bag on the floor. You'll need groceries, he said. We can order in tonight and then I'll take you shopping in the morning. The air in the house wasn't stagnant. He'd been inside recently and opened the windows. It occurred to me the lights coming on meant the utilities had been paid. Did you pay my bills? I asked. Chase hesitated and became visibly uncomfortable. He was handling me with kid gloves, and I couldn't blame him. The state said I could leave the institution, but that didn't mean I was well. I wasn't well. I couldn't see well with a telescope. He shrugged and said, When I knew you weren't coming back for a while, I had your utilities paid automatically from your bank account. I didn't know for sure when you were getting out, so it didn't make sense to shut them off in case the doctors suddenly signed off on your release. Something about what he said seemed familiar, but I wasn't sure why. I said, I couldn't have had enough in my account to keep up the payments. Chase watched me as if he wasn't sure I was being serious. When an appropriate amount of time passed so that he understood my apparent lack of understanding was real, he said, You had some money coming to you from your last case. Those funds covered your bills and then some. You still have some money in your checking account, but only enough to last you for a few months. Of course, you're still getting your disability pension from the department, but that's not exactly lottery money. There it was again, the familiarity. Then it hit me. We've discussed this, haven't we? Chase broke off eye contact and looked at the floor. How many times? I asked. His eyes came up and he answered. A few. We worked with the bank to set it all up. I'm sorry, I said. Chase shook his head. I'm the one who's sorry. I wish I could have done more for you. You did plenty, I told him. I'm a cop, he said. I should have, if I would have. I killed people, Chase. I killed a lot of people. He squeezed his mammoth hands into the pockets of jeans and said, You had every reason to do what you did. Besides, you weren't in your right mind at the time. At least the court got that part right. I'm sure being locked away in a psych hospital was no picnic, but prison would have been worse. He was right. And he was wrong. A long moment stretched out with neither of us speaking. At least, I think it was a long pause. Maybe the moment was only a second. While my treatment had helped me maintain a better grasp on what was real, I had become woefully inept when it came to gauging the passing of time. I glanced around the living room and saw my television, my bookshelf, and finally a turntable in the corner. The same record I'd been playing at the time of my arrest sat on the turntable, untouched as I knew it would be. My gaze settled on it, and I wondered if the meds they gave me would continue to hold or if fantasy would creep back into reality. Is pizza okay? He asked. A certificate hung on the wall above the dusty record. Inside the frame was a commendation I'd received from the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police for outstanding work on a narcotics investigation. According to the document behind the glass, Detective Trevor Galloway had demonstrated outstanding valor in the performance of his duties and completed work instrumental to the disruption of illegal drug activities in Pittsburgh. A lifetime ago.